And it's off to the American League Championship Series. And this time, you don't have to go through the Astros. It's like a whole new world. Congratulations to the Yankee fan. They clinched last night against the Kansas City Royals. We got a lot to talk about. We'll find out who they're going to play tomorrow. The Mets are going to find out who they're going to play tonight. We've got a huge football game on Sunday night at MetLife Stadium. We have controversy around the New York Football Giants that need to be addressed. It is a very, 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 very busy Friday in New York City. For me, personally, Tiki, sitting down last night watching the Yankees, there is someone I need to tip my hat to.
Yep.
There is somebody in particular that I need to pay the respect to.
Acknowledge him.
There is somebody I most definitely need to acknowledge.
He's your Jesse Winker.
He's my Jesse Winker. No, not really. I think sometimes when a lot of time goes by, you forget. And it is easy to forget why Gerrit Cole is here. He is here because he's an ace. He is here because he's a money pitcher. There aren't a lot of guys on this planet that are true aces and true money pitchers. And it's easy to forget. It's easy to forget because when he pitched to open this series, he wasn't great. It's easy to forget because you think back to the 2022 ALCS. But let this be a reminder. And it was a reminder for me. I'll be the first to raise my hand. This is the advantage that the Yankees have over everybody else. With all due respect to Tariq Skubal and whatever ace you want to come up with, nobody in the Major League Baseball playoffs is as accomplished, has done it before, and as ace-like as Gerrit Cole. And it wasn't perfect. There was a lot of hard contact against him last night. The stadium helped him out when it looked like Kyle Eastbell was hitting a game-tying home run. But I begin by acknowledging that the New York Yankees paid a lot of money for an ace 4 years ago, and last night in a closeout game, he was everything you paid for.
It's why you go get players like this. It was like when the Dodgers traded for Mookie Betts. You get guys like that for moments like that.
Yes.
And it's ultimately their job to help you win a championship. And Gerrit Cole did that last night. We had all of these conversations yesterday about what combination of pitching rotation should the Yankees go with? Should they just try to win Game 4, and then maybe if you get to Game 5, then you have Cole for a closeout game, but it compromises you for the next series if you push forward. You know what? Just win the damn game. And when we had McGonigal on at the end of the show, I mean, he was like, right? He said basically, just win the damn game.
Yes.
Right? Yeah, we were here for 5 hours yesterday. Get the guy who's going to win you the game, and if you have that guy, you know what? Throw him out there. And that's what you're lucky you can do if you're a Yankee fan.
It's been 4.5 years since the Yankees made, you could argue, one of their most important purchases in the history of the franchise. They bought Gerrit Cole. They bought a guy they didn't beat. They bought a guy that they had to go through in Houston. And they brought him home because he always wanted to be a New York Yankee. And over the course of the last 5 years, there have been some great moments. There have been some mediocre moments. But more times than not, and let last night be a reminder, when the game's on the line, when the season's on the line, when you're playing a big-time postseason game, that's the guy you want to hand a baseball to. And look, give a lot of credit to Gleyber Torres, who started the game off with a double. I mean, literally one pitch into the game, the Yankees are set up with a runner on second. Give major credit to Juan Soto, who drove him in promptly. So immediately, you handed your ace a lead and said, go protect it. And that is not an easy environment to pitch in. It is a loud ballpark. The Royals are a good team. I'm so sick and tired of hearing about, well, they're the Royals. The Royals had a good year. And you know what, more importantly than anything, forget if they're good or not. They're in your way. And when a team's in your way, it doesn't matter if they're awesome. It doesn't matter if they suck. It doesn't matter if they're lucky. It doesn't matter. You have to beat them. And this was not easy over 4 games. It wasn't easy, but they got the job done. And Gerrit Cole pitching a 1-2-3 inning in the bottom of the first inning after being handed a lead, that's ace-like crap. A 1-2-3 inning in the second inning with a 1-0 lead, that's ace-like crap. Protecting a 1-0 lead until you got some insurance in the 5th and continuing to shut down the Royals until you gave up a double to Pasquantino, but then you got the next hitter out. That next hitter, Salvador Perez. I think a lot of us acknowledge he's a World Series MVP. I still can't sleep at night thinking about him as a World Series MVP. And Gerrit Cole got him to pop up. That's ace-like crap. Then in the 7th inning, he pitched another relatively clean inning. That's ace-like crap. And I'll tell you the other thing that's ace-like crap If Aaron Boone wanted to, Gerrit Cole could have pitched the 8th inning. If Aaron Boone wanted to, Gerrit Cole could have finished the job last night. And he wasn't dominant per se. He was the scientist that he always is. His slider got hit in his last start. He shelved the slider.
Right.
And there was some hard contact against him, but he got the job done. So to me, as you guys advance to the ALCS, for only the 4th time in 12 years, this is not the 90s anymore, as much as some people like to talk as if it is. Getting to the ALCS, even when you're the big bad Yankees, is special. It is allowed to be cherished. You got there last night, headline, because your ace delivered in a closeout game.
Right. It's the beauty of having an ace. And Sean came into this show. Did you do that music to start the show, Sean?
The great Paul Arzuman put that together. I picked the song, though.
It was 1990-something. I wasn't even here yet.
96, baby. That was nostalgia.
The How You Doing song?
How you doing? I was like, what in the hell is this? I've never heard that.
You don't know Joey Balls and Carmenucci?
I have no idea. I was not here.
You know what I was
was
saying?
in Virginia. I was going into my senior year at the University of Virginia.
To the Yankee fans who heard that open, and very well produced by the great Paul Arzuman, Sean Morash, Tommy Lugauer, all contribute to that. I think for those who get it, good for you. It's nostalgic.
But what are you trying
for
to
those
draw
who don't,
on?
how you doing?
What are you drawing upon?
Because once upon a time, the Yankees had a cute little song we all rallied around.
I
and
see what's going
now
on.
it's time for our party, Tiki.
Did they rally around it like the Mets
Well, the
rallied
fans
around
did.
OMG?
The fans did. You couldn't turn on a radio station in
Did
New
it
York
get a
without it.
remix like OMG got remixed?
No.
It did.
No. And Mariano Duncan wasn't singing.
By the way, the reason I liked How You Doing is not even the nostalgia of it. I respect that for Yankee fans. The How You Doing is, hey, Yankee fans, how you doing? This is a fan base that has been very, very critical of everything about this franchise as displayed in that open. And I understand it, by the way. I understand why Sean felt the way he felt, why Brandon felt the way he felt. Like, I get that. And here you are in the ALCS. So, Yankee fans, it is a very fair question. How you doing?
Exhale time, baby.
I mean, were you really holding your breath?
You know what it was? I realized today as my fat ass walked the dog around the block singing How You Doing, that I think so many Yankee fans were so tight, including me, because, yes, the World Series is the big dream. These Yankees couldn't go down in an ALDS, and some, including the Game 2 loss, it felt like the bad Yankee losses of the past. But seeing a ace shove the Royals in a locker, seeing, and we'll get to it, Jazz Chisholm and Anthony Volpe having a little stones going at the Royals, and seeing guys come up with big at-bats, and credit Darren Judge, too, got on base 3 times last night. It felt like a little Yankee magic was restored with that advancement to the ALCS.
Well, you have a path. That's really the truth of it, because I don't know who's winning this other series, this other DS series between, they moved this game, this other DS series between the Tigers and the Cleveland Guardians, but you have a path. And it seems like you've gotten this bullpen situation sorted out. Clay Holmes has turned into being one of the great setup men after making an all-star as a closer.
It's this series, and it's only 4 games, and there's a long way to go. I think everybody with the New York Yankees acknowledge that. But through 4 games, there was a lot of vindication amongst New York Yankees in this series. One of the vindications you just pointed out is Clay Holmes. Clay Holmes was utterly brilliant. I mean, look at last night. He comes into this game protecting just a tiny 2-run lead, and he's got to go 9-1-2. He puts 1 guy on base. You're talking about the heart of the order. With 2 outs and nobody on, you got to go through an MVP candidate and Bobby Witt Jr. Clay Holmes lost his closer's job. He's never allowed a postseason run. He's been great since they moved him out of the closer's job. He had some vindication in this series where he didn't allow a run. Vindication for Clay Holmes. Vindication for Giancarlo Stanton, who did it again.
Yeah.
2 more hits, an RBI single in the 6th inning, a big one to give them another run.
Yeah, I don't want to hear any more hate on Giancarlo Stanton.
It should be dead forever.
It's all done.
Vindication for Giancarlo Stanton. I know it didn't happen in this game, but how about going back to the first game? Vindication for Alex Verdugo. But maybe the ultimate vindication so far came from the manager. Because the manager now has to use major strategery with his bullpen. And whether it's Tommy Kahnle, not last night, whether it's Clay Holmes in the 8th inning last night, or Clay Holmes to come into a middle of an inning, we saw that previously in this series, whether it's Luke Weaver being the closer, whether it's John Birdie starting at first base over Oswaldo Cabrera, something I admit I criticized yesterday. Aaron Boone so far, 4 games, long way to go. He's pressing those buttons
He's
well.
pressing the correct buttons, right. And yeah, I can't get over how different you feel about Clay Holmes right now than you did a month ago because you were done with him. Obviously there was value to his use on this team, but you were done with him emotionally because of all of the blown saves. But you put him in a better role for him because he never felt like a closer. He never felt like he had swing and miss stuff. He never felt like he could go get 3 immediate outs and just walk off the mound victorious. But you put him in a setup role, he's thriving. And I don't know if it's humility and being demoted, but he works better in this role. 3 up, 3 down last night. Same thing with Luke Weaver, who's been a marvel as a closer that nobody thought of at the beginning of the season. I'd like to go back to Sean's list that we threw out. Do you still have that list, Sean?
I can find it.
The list, by the way, that Tika's referring to, this was all the way back in April, was who's likely to be the closer for the Yankees come October.
One of them was a troll job because he said Edwin Diaz.
Right.
But on the serious side, because I think you redid it when it was more serious.
Oh, I did one in September, yeah.
And I don't think Luke Weaver was one of them.
I don't think it was either.
And so it's crazy to think about from a fan, like visualizing what this Yankee team is going to look like. Who has evolved? Now, Clay Holmes, Gerrit Cole has been there for the entirety, save, missed time. But we knew who Gerrit Cole was. But everything else was kind of, all right, what is Nestor going to be? Do we trust Rodon? What's the closing situation going to look like? Nobody expected it to be where it is right now, heading into the DLCS.
I think the crazy part about Luke Weaver, and Luke Weaver is such an important cog to this. Like, think about this, Yankee fans. You're 8 wins away from winning a championship. From this team, this 2024 Yankee team, living forever in your memory as a champion, the way the 96 team does, the way the 2009 team does. If you're a little bit older, the 77 or the 78 team does. And the guy who's going to be on the mound to secure you a world championship is not Mariano Rivera. It's a guy named Luke Weaver. Luke Weaver is a 31-year-old journeyman failed starting pitcher. That's his resume. That's who he is. And I know that sounds kind of douchey to call him that. That's what he is. And now he's taken that as journeyman failed starting pitcher. And I don't know, he's just become one of the most reliable relievers in baseball. And he's earned that. Like, since he's been moved into that closer's role in early September, along with the demotion of Clay Holmes, do you know how many earned runs Luke Weaver's given up? 0.
So good in the role.
He's been unbelievable. Last night, with a 2-run lead in the 9th inning in a rocking ballpark like Kauffman Stadium against 4, 5, and 6 of the order, including a former World Series MVP. With a 2-run lead, Luke Weaver proceeded to not throw a ball out of the strike zone. Bing, 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 strikeout. Bing, 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 strikeout. Lazy fly ball to center field. You couldn't even get settled to get worried before Luke Weaver got the 3 outs.
Right.
So a part of this journey has been they found their closer, and they found it in the most insane, surprising way.
The best part is, Tiki and I have definitely had this conversation, Evan, when you allude to scoring games last September when everybody was checked out. This is why we should be watching in lost seasons in September, because little-known Luke Weaver was claimed off waivers to eat some innings for them to finish a season.
Great point.
And now he's throwing the most important outs for his team en route to hopefully a World Series.
Incredible. Aaron Boone managed his ass off. Gerrit Cole was the ace. Giancarlo Stanton got clutch hits. Now, Aaron Judge is waking up. He got on base 3 times. He had that double in the 6th inning and came around to score. So it hasn't been the explosion yet, but you can feel him waking up. And that's why it is the perfect song. Yankee fans, on this Friday, as you get set to play in the American League Championship Series and face a team not named the Houston Astros for the first time in an LCS since 2012, how you doing? Are you relieved? Are you pumped? Because that's the weird thing about the Yankee fan right now. The Met fan is pumped up. They're on a cloud. Are Yankee fans like, okay, we made it.
Right.
Now what?
I think now that they're here, the Yankee fan is saying, we were supposed to be here. This is exciting, obviously, because you're in a CS again. And you're not facing the Astros, as you keep pointing out. But it ultimately is we were supposed to be here. We started the season as strong as we did. We're supposed to be here. We got a great draw in the postseason after earning the number 1 overall seed. We're supposed to be here. And then all of a sudden, you look at the other DS series, and it's like, well, okay. We're supposed to not just be here. We're supposed to be in the World Series. I think that's what the Yankee fan is thinking right now.
We'll get to your calls. How are we feeling on this Friday with the Yankees advancing to the American League Championship Series? The toll-free number is 888-808-1019. There is a ton to get to today. A lot from last night's game, including the flap that we saw between Anthony Volpe and Miguel Garcia. What actually happened? With the moment where Bob Costas even lost me as a Bob Costas stan. We'll look ahead to the upcoming ALCS and upcoming NLCS. And we got a lot of Giant football to get to because very quietly, their season has been turned around and they have a huge Sunday night contest with the Cincinnati Bengals. But they've got controversy around them, and it involves their star wide receiver. We address it all coming up, plus NFL picks later on. It's a jam-packed Friday live from the Town Fair Tire Studios.